we are entering into another session, and in this session we will be discussing on another type of business organization and the form of business organization. We were learning about sole proprietorship, where one person was doing. We learned about joint Hindu family business, where a family is together doing business. We came to know about more than one person together performing business, partnership. We learned about business organization where service is considered as a prime motive, cooperative society, and here we comes into another business form or business form of business organization where more number of people, much more number of people is coming together, and that is called as joint stock company. Joint stock company. So we start with our session. What is joint stock company? Joint stock company is that form of business organization where a number of persons come together, association of persons formed carrying out a business activity. That means a group of persons coming together and carrying out a business. And on what basis these persons come together? They come together by purchasing shares of the company. What is a share? Share is the unit of capital of a company. They are purchasing shares, and by purchasing shares they are becoming the owners of the company. So association of persons is those persons who have purchased the shares of the company, and by purchasing the shares of the company they are becoming owners of the company, owned by shareholders. That is why we are saying joint stock company is owned by shareholders. And what makes it joint stock company? Even in cooperative society we saw they purchase shares, but here what is differentiating joint stock company from cooperative society is that joint stock company is governed by provisions of Indian Companies Act. Earlier it was Companies Act of 1956, and recently it was amended in 2013. So we have to say it is governed by provisions of Companies Act of 2013. So that form of business organization where people come together and do a business, where they contribute to the capital of a company by purchasing shares. Share is the value, share is a unit of capital. They are purchasing shares and they are becoming the owners of the company, and those persons who have contributed together is carrying out a business for earning profit. We call it by the name joint stock company. Again, it has a legal status and independent of its members. It has a special position in front of law, and it is different from its members. We will go in detail when we are learning about the features of joint stock company. So joint stock company is association of persons formed for carrying out business activity. It is governed by Indian Companies Act of 2013, owned by shareholders, and it has a legal status which is independent of its members. Now for better understanding, we will go into the features of joint stock company. Features of joint stock company. It starts with joint stock company is an artificial person. As I have said earlier, it is independent from its members. Joint stock company, once it is getting registered under the provisions of Indian Companies Act, it has an identity of a person. But one thing is there is no physical existence. There is no physical existence for company, but once it is registered under Indian Companies Act, it automatically gains capacity of a person. Means It can purchase land in its name. It can incur debts. It can have debts from others. Again, it can enter into contracts. It can be sued. It can be sued in court of law. It can sue others in court of law. So, in such a capacity, that those are things which a person can do. So, here company, joint stock company, that form of business organization, once it is registered under Indian Companies Act, automatically gains the capacity of a person. But it doesn't have physical existence. That is why it is said that joint stock company is an artificial person. That is the first and foremost feature. It's an artificial person. So that is the first feature. Second one is said. Second one, what we are saying is that the feature, as a feature of joint stock company, is that it has separate legal entity. Separate legal entity. Once the form of business organization get registered under Indian Companies Act, automatically it becomes it has an identity different from its members. That means company will be considered different. The members, the shareholders will be considered different. In sole proprietorship, we said that business is equal to businessman. Here, business is not equal to person who is carrying out business. Business is different. The persons who have contributed, the owners, is different. That is what is meant by identity distinct from its members. The identity of company is different from its members. It cannot be considered equal to its members. Company is company, members are members. Both are different. And assets and liabilities are separate from those of owners. That's another thing. The detailed explanation. That means whatever company is having is companies, whatever owners, whatever shareholders is having is their own. They cannot get mixed up. It is different. Owners are different, company is different. Only when it is registered under law, it is having that different identity, or it is getting that separate legal existence. Third one is formation. Formation. As you have seen, I said it is to be registered under, it is to be compulsorily registered under Companies Act of 2013. Earlier it was 1956, Companies Act of 1956. So, it is to be compulsory registered under Companies Act, Indian Companies Act, and it is a time consuming process. It's an expensive process. It's a complicated process. That means such a lot of formalities are there, such a lot of norms are to be fulfilled. So, it's not a very easy thing. It's not a very easy thing. Formation has to be strictly compiled to the rules or strictly follow the rules what is mentioned in Companies Act. So, compulsory registration is required for forming a company, and a lot of formalities, lot of money, lot of time has to be spent for forming a joint stock company. That is also another feature of joint stock company. Now, next one is perpetual succession. Perpetual means continuous. Succession means it will be there, or continually it will be there. Because joint stock company is that form of business organization which is brought into existence by law. That means only when it is getting registered under Indian Companies Act and it is getting some certificate of incorporation, certificate of commencement of business. Only after getting that, a joint stock company comes into existence. That means it is brought into existence by law, and because of the same reason it can be stopped, it can be closed only by law. As it is opened by law, as it is created by law, it can be closed only by law. There are specific procedure for closing down of a company, which is called as winding up. Only after that procedure, law will declare that company to be closed or stopped. Only then it will be stopped. Members can come, members may come, members may go, but the company will continue to exist till law brings an end to it. That is why it is said perpetual succession will be there. Irrespective of its members, it will continue to exist. So that is also another feature. Now coming on to the next feature, it is the control. How business is being controlled. How business is being controlled. It is being controlled by board of directors. Lot of shareholders are there. From among the shareholders, they will select a few persons to carry out day-to-day activities and administration of business. They are called as board of directors. Board of directors are the persons who are looking into the administrative or daily aspects of business. Board of directors control the affairs of a company. They appoint management officials to carry out day-to-day activities. Maybe some of the management officials also can be from board of directors, but usually they are the persons who are appointing the management officials, and they have to report to the shareholders. They have to report to shareholders. Shareholders even reporting to shareholders is there, but shareholders are not allowed to participate in the day-to-day activities. Representing shareholders, board of directors look after through the officials appointed. They make sure that daily working of company is happening. And regarding liability, that is another feature. Liability is extended only up to the limit of what they have contributed. The amount of shares they have purchased, only to that limit the liability is there. Liability is only to the extent of capital invested. And creditors can, that means those who have given money to those whom company have to repay. Creditors can use only the assets of company if there is something remaining. Creditors can use the assets of company to settle their claims. Creditors can only use the company's assets to settle their claims. So that is also another thing which you have to understand. So liability is limited only to amount what is there. They have purchased the shares. Only to that extent liability will be there. Now coming on to another feature, that's a very important feature, common seal. Common seal. We said company is an artificial person. Company cannot come and sign the documents. Instead of that, it is board of directors who are acting on behalf of the company. For company, board of directors are entering into contracts and representing company's approval is the common seal. Common seal is equivalent to the official signature of company. Common seal represents the official signature, and it is used by board of directors when they enter into contract or any aspect. They use common seal as an indication of company's approval. And any contract, any document where the common seal is not there, which doesn't bear common seal, company doesn't have any legal binding. Company is not responsible for such kind of contracts. It is not legally binding the company. So that means for everything and anything which a firm is entering into, it requires the signature of the joint stock company, and that is the common seal. Common seal represents the signature of the joint stock company and it is used by board of directors. And the last one is regarding risk bearing. Risk bearing. We have already seen in another type of business, especially in partnership, the risk is borne by everyone. Here also, same thing happens. Risk is borne by shareholders. It is together. It is jointly borne by shareholders to the extent of what they have contributed. And it is spread over a large number of shareholders. It is spread over the number of shareholders who have purchased the shares. So, risk is being borne by all the shareholders together or jointly. So, we were talking about the form of business organization, joint stock company, and we were seeing its features.